Okay, I'll call the meeting to order now and welcome everybody that's here. We should have a lot more people coming on, so I'm anxious to see that because we had people asking if they could, view this. So you can take the agenda down now, I guess, and we'll go from there. The minutes, do we have minutes from the January meeting?
Yes, I distributed them electronically earlier. If you want, maybe we can put them up on my screen. How do you want to do that? Do you want me to share my screen and put them up?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hi, Vishnu. Good to see you. Yeah, go ahead, Ty, and share yours. That'd be good.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if I saw them or not.
Can you see them now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that says January. I thought that was December. Okay. Does anybody have any comments about, if you can see any comments about the minutes?
I will say this about the minutes. I injected the nominating committee's recommendations in the slate being elected because I wanted that on our first year part of the agenda in case there are any questions about officer status for the purpose of our bank account.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, didn't we do that in December? I'm already mixed up about months even, let alone days. So, okay, cool.
That's a liberty that I took.
Yeah, okay, good. I see Alexander's here from David Cohen's office. Thank you for coming and joining us tonight. If I don't hear anything about the minutes, we'll leave them as presented. I don't think there's any problem that I see. So, all right, thank you. We'll go on to Susan's treasurer's report.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So I have the treasurer's report for the month of January 2021. The beginning balance on January 1st, 2021 was $3,742.47. We had an income of $550 in membership due payments. And then we had expenses for web hosting, robocall, and Zoom services for 2020. That was a cost of $805.62, which left a balance on January 31st of $3,486.85. Then we move on to the Beautify San Jose Grant Cycle 3 for 2020-21. The beginning balance January 1st, 2021 was $4,932.30. We've had no expenses. And the ending balance January 31st was $4,932.30. And I'm happy to say that we have collected about 75% of membership dues. So thank you, everyone. And for those who are on board here that haven't paid, I'm gladly accepting the $10 for 2021. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask a couple of questions? Susan, have you received the invoicing from Joe Sachs for the application of the anti-graffiti code?
No.
Okay.
So I had left him several messages, and then it took him about a week to get back to me. I think it was Saturday when he left a message and said he was sorry, he had been busy. And so I'm just waiting. I know that he had put on the coding by this time, I think.
Yes, that's
my
understanding.
So he should be getting back to me. As soon as I get the invoice from him, I'll send him off the payment.
Okay, and then we had two other irons in the fire. Could you give us an update? There was one having to do with a substantial amount of money coming out of City Council District 4 departing, and the other was an opportunity to participate in COVID-related notification processes for the City of San Jose.
So we have good news and bad news. I'll start with the bad news. Is we were not chosen as one of the people to be on the COVID grant to get out information. And it might be because we don't have a big enough group that we disseminate information to. But I volunteered free services in case they do need us. The second is on the grant from the City of San Jose for the pond restoration. So Linda had gotten all the agreement signed, and then I got it over there. I scanned it and we sent it in. And so this morning, I sent in, not this morning, this afternoon, I sent an email following up to find out if they've received it, to confirm that. And then also when we'd be expecting our check, because we don't want the city to run out of money.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. And then I see Lieutenant Quinones is joining us tonight. Thank you. Appreciate your being here. And Raphael, you're here. Good. Thank you very much. We have a little bit different format for our agenda tonight. So, because our guest speakers have some time limits also. So I'm going to give a little background on what this issue is about, and then we'll let each one of them make a presentation. So San Jose City Council instructed its 2040 General Plan Task Force to explore allowing duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes on single lots zoned for single-family homes. The task force recommended that the city implement the zoning shift, so they're in favor of it, of probably fourplexes. And City Council will decide in June whether they're going to move forward or what they want to do. This is what I've gathered from the newspaper. It's called actually opportunity housing in some places. So as our bylaws read, we always present both sides of an issue. And it's not for debate tonight, it's for information only. And I'm explaining this to everyone because we have a lot of people here that are not our regular members even. But even our regular members don't know enough about this information that's going to be presented tonight either. So we want this to not be a debate, but information from both sides, people that have done in fact, a lot of homework on both sides to give us some information. So that's what we're doing tonight and I'm not going to take questions unless it's to clarify a point that somebody didn't understand. Okay. So tonight we have Jason, I don't know how to say your name, Jason Olenlot, and he's with the Yes in My Backyard group, and he will be speaking, giving us information on the rezoning, in support of the rezoning. And Pierre Luigi Oliverio will be presenting concerns regarding rezoning. So this is not a debate, and we're going to let Jason go first. And if you're ready, you may go.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Uhlencott. I myself live in the Shasta-Hanchett neighborhood of San Jose, and I represent a club called South Bay YIMBY. I'm very excited to share an idea that City Council is going to be talking about during 2021 and 2022 called opportunity housing. Just to introduce us, South Bay YIMBY is a club that believes in inclusivity, access to opportunity, and in making San Jose and the rest of the South Bay a more welcoming place. Our club started about 5 years ago, and in the beginning it was just two of us showing up to city council meetings and giving public comment, and it really kind of grew from there. I started showing up because I loved the Bay Area, but I didn't love some of the things I was seeing. I saw a lot of people getting displaced. Some of my own friends decided that the Bay Area just wasn't worth it anymore. And the Bay Area is a really special place to me, and I feel very fortunate to be here. But it felt like it was becoming a little less special every year, with people getting displaced, people moving out. And I kind of wanted to break out of that zero-sum mentality. I wanted to share the idea that I want to live in a place that the people I care about can also live, and that it's actually good for our city if it's more welcoming to the people who want to be here. South Bay YIMBY has done quite a few activities. We've helped canvass for city council candidates all over the county who shared our values. And there are a couple of photos here of us doing a service event where we put together supplies for people who are experiencing homelessness. And next is one of my favorite activities that we've done. We called this the Missing Middle Walking Tour. And this was a lot of fun. We walked around some neighborhoods, and we observed what we liked about them and what we didn't. And we found something pretty remarkable. In our favorite neighborhoods, there was a mix of housing types. And it was a mix that sometimes wasn't even really visually apparent unless we knew what to look for. And in the corner here, you can see one of our members is wearing a t-shirt that says legalize housing. I'll talk more about that in a little bit here. We saw some duplexes in these neighborhoods that weren't even necessarily taller or bigger than the single family homes that they were next to. It wasn't even visually obvious from the outer form which homes were single family and which were duplexes. But we started playing a game we called Count the Electric Meters. So we walked around and just, you know, looked at each house and then looked at the side of the house to see how many electric meters were on the side. And sometimes we were able to say, oh, look, there are 2 families living there. We've actually done this activity more than once in several different places around the county, and it's really remarkable. We keep discovering that our favorite neighborhoods have this mix. They have this range of housing types, and some streets that we initially thought were single family only really weren't. A few of us have even gone home from some of these events and started looking around our own neighborhoods and realized there was more multifamily housing in our own neighborhood than we even initially realized. So what do we say when we mean missing middle? San Jose's term, opportunity housing, is another term for the missing middle. And when we talk about middle, we're not only talking about middle price, although that's part of it. It's really middle form. And here we have a picture of a whole range of housing types. On the left, we have detached single family homes, and then going up the range, we have duplexes, we have fourplexes, we have cottage courts, townhouses, and other forms of increasing density all the way up to mid-rise apartment buildings. And there's a reason we call this the missing middle, which I will get to. This is not a new idea at all. This is actually a very old idea, and this is how we used to build our neighborhoods. And I have some examples of what this looks like in San Jose. This picture that we're looking at right now is from the Rose Garden neighborhood, which is pretty close to where I live. And you might notice that this house is a little on the old side. And here's another example of a duplex in Willow Glen. This was built in 1945. In my opinion, this is a nice, good-looking house, but it is kind of old, and there aren't a lot of examples that are newer than this. And here's another one in Japantown. This is a fourplex. So why are these examples so old? Why don't we have any newer ones? It turns out that it's because of our zoning code. 94% of the residential land in San Jose is single family only. And that actually means it's against the law to build anything else on that land. Now, there's nothing at all wrong with single family homes. Single family homes are okay, but this isn't a good balance where we say nobody can build anything except that. We really want to see that whole range from the earlier diagram, where we have everything from detached single family to duplexes to townhouses. We want to see a lot more of that middle that's missing. For comparison, let's look at how some of the other cities nearby are doing. In Mountain View, only 50% of the land is currently zoned single family only. And this is pretty remarkable because Mountain View has a history of being really bad in terms of jobs housing balance. Google is in Mountain View, of course. They brought a huge number of jobs into the city, and for a long, long time, Mountain View was just not serious about making enough homes to go with those jobs. But in the last few years, we've seen a big shift. And what one of the things we're proud of at South Bay YIMBY is that we were one small part of a movement that really pushed Mountain View hard to do some reforms there. We did a lot of advocacy in the North Bayshore area and other parts of Mountain View, and the city really made lots of progress. In our advocacy, we made some arguments that part of the reason for this was that Mountain View really needed to do their part for the larger region to fix the jobs housing balance that they were inflicting on the rest of us. But it wasn't only that. It turns out that fixing that imbalance was not only good for the larger region, it was good for Mountain View, and it was good for the Mountain View residents themselves. Mountain View had a big transportation problem because all these people were commuting in cars a long distance into Mountain View. It was terrible for the environment, and Mountain View itself was better off when they made room for more people to live there. So we're glad that they were a leader on that. I really hope San Jose also decides to get out in front of this and be a leader on this issue. I think that's progress we could be proud of. The problem we're facing here is not single family homes. Single family homes are great for the families that want them. Our problem is single family zoning in that we don't allow a mix, we don't allow a range of options. We have this very restrictive set of laws that make it illegal to build anything else. This is about giving homeowners choice, and it's about making room for the next generation. If you have children, part of this is about thinking about where your children are going to live, either now or someday. A lot of people have worked very hard for their homes, and that's something to be proud of. Buying your first home is a major life accomplishment, and it's okay for it to be hard, but it shouldn't be so hard that we shut the next generation out. And since we've stopped building neighborhoods like we used to, it's been getting a lot harder. I have a somewhat alarming statistic here. Berryessa Union Elementary School has seen its enrollments drop 8% in the last 5 years. And as you can see, there is declining school enrollment all over. Some neighborhoods of San Jose have it a little worse than others, but all of them have it pretty bad. And some schools may actually end up closing because there are fewer and fewer families with school-aged children who can find a home here. Now, I'm a very optimistic person, but I find this quite alarming. And in our opinion, it's people, not just buildings, that make up a community's character. And our community's character is changing right now. Because the built environment has kind of been frozen, and we haven't made it legal to build homes like we used to. This is alarming, but I'm optimistic that we can make some changes here. We really have a chance to set the course we want. I hope you share our enthusiasm for this, and here are a few ways to get involved in the process. It's still very much a discussion in progress. It's not a policy yet. City Council has instructed staff to study it, and they're going to be inviting people to give input for some time. There has been some really interesting discussion about where this opportunity housing should go. There have been some proposals that it should be in proximity to transit, and that should be a part of criteria. And I think that's an interesting discussion because transportation policy and housing policy really do have a lot to do with each other. There has also been some discussion about anti-displacement provisions. We really want this to be about expanding opportunities for people and not about causing any existing residents to be displaced. And finally, South Bay YIMBY would really like to make sure that any new homes are going to exist at a range of income levels for people at many different income levels. So in conclusion, here are a couple of websites with more information. sjneighborhoodsforall.com is a great place to sign up and get updates about ways you can get engaged. And finally, my own club, South Bay YIMBY, has a website. We have regular general meetings, and if this is interesting to you, we'd love to see you at our next general meeting. Thank you very much for giving me the time.
Jason, we had one question about when you were doing the walking tours, was that just San Jose, city of San Jose?
Some of those pictures were from Mountain View, but we've done them in several different locations around the county.
Okay. Thank you.
All before the pandemic, of course.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. And then we'll let Pierre Luigi give your presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Can you see my screen and hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, great. Pierluigi Oliverio from the Willow Glen Neighborhood Association. Going to fill you in on this topic. So let's see here. Why isn't this going? Bear with me. Here we go. Okay, so what's this all about? This is all about allowing higher density development within your existing single family house block. Where has this been done? The state of Oregon recently passed it, and as you can see from the image, it's not necessarily it's a divided opinion on the topic. This is from one of their newspapers. It was recently passed in Minneapolis, January 2020. It's really, too early to tell what are the potential positives or mistakes that are from this policy that's being passed. It's definitely not a majority of the country by any means. In fact, in cities in Oregon, they're passing demolition fees of upwards of $20,000 to dissuade this type of development. So there's a debate still going on in that state. Sacramento, the city, recently voted on this in January. They voted to study it, and they voted to study it with a long list of wonky land use items rather than this item by itself. And I think that was unfortunate because it didn't give the time needed for people to provide feedback. And this is being considered in San Jose. When? It'll be spring. So the date is kind of floated around, but it's definitely going to be on the council agenda, and the city council is definitely going to vote on it. Why is this coming forward? Well, proponents often will say about this topic that single family housing is racist due to the historical redlining from the Federal Housing Administration under FDR, that eliminating single house zoning will right a historical wrong, that everyone has a right to live in any neighborhood they want and should not be outpriced, and lower rent would be likely in a multi-unit building than a single house. So what is the current general plan of San Jose? The current general plan builds a massive amount of housing, enough room for 300,000 additional people by the year 2040. And it does it in strategic areas, downtown, next to transit corridors, major streets, urban villages. This is an example of something in my neighborhood on Meridian Avenue, busy street, has a bus route. And so this is 233 units on 2 acres approved, and it'll be 100% low income housing, but it's on Meridian, the busy street. It's not in the neighborhood. And what we do in the current general plan is we preserve and protect existing single family neighborhoods. I sat on the original general plan 2040 task force for 5 years, and there is a significant portion of residents in San Jose that don't want any more housing built. They feel there's too much traffic, there's too much density, et cetera. And so part of what we did was to give a commitment that we weren't going to mess with the neighborhoods while we densified the city in strategic locations. And that's why we put that in the general plan, so that we can do developments like you see in that image and not impact the neighborhood. I want to give you some historical context on housing in San Jose. We have built the most housing for the region, both market rate and low income. In fact, San Jose has 23,000 low income units. If you think about it at a district level, that's like having 23 100 unit complexes in your district, all low income. San Jose is mostly housing, which means we're tax revenue poor, which means we don't have the money to pay for certain city services. And other cities, as the gentleman mentioned prior in Mountain View is mostly jobs. So they're tax revenue rich. So they can provide superior municipal services to the residents. San Jose, unfortunately, has sacrificed industrial and commercial land to provide housing. And when we approve low-income housing, it's exempted from property taxes in perpetuity. Therefore, it's harder to finance the city because those residents demand services. And we also have a dedicated transfer tax in San Jose that goes when property is sold, that goes to specifically fund low-income housing. San Jose has done a lot. So the proposal in San Jose from the General Plan Task Force, as a Willow Glen Neighborhood Association, we submitted a letter against, I spoke against, and this proposed policy modifies existing general plan so that you get all the massive density, but it removes the protection for the single family home neighborhoods. The proposal is to allow multi-unit by right on every single residential parcel citywide. So what would be the process in this proposal? Well, there'd be none. By right means no community meeting, no public hearing, straight to demolition. The San Jose proposal is to essentially have one house replaced by a fourplex. And if you're a profit motivated buyer, once you're into it and doing that construction, you might as well put in the 2 ADUs that you're allowed by state law, regardless of lot size. So then you basically have 6 units where 1 unit was before. And if you're a corner lot or a good size lot, you can put in a 3rd ADU for 7 units. When you're trying to maximize the lot, ultimately the result is going to be much fewer trees in San Jose. Parking, there's no way to park the new vehicles on the property. They will rely primarily on street parking. And that, could be your personal vehicle, work vehicle, recreational vehicle. The city of San Jose does not, or any city in California is not allowed to regulate the number of cars per dwelling. Because of this new density, you're not going to have garbage carts into the street. You're going to have dumpsters being pushed out for everyone to use. And, that's also a dynamic of on garbage day, where will that dumpster go based on the parking? You will need upgrades of sewers and electrical capacity. And there's this concept of people believing in design standards that we can make sure we'll have architectural integrity. And I don't think that's likely because of SB 35, which really cracks down on cities trying to put in vague terms about maintaining neighborhood character, because that's what some affluent cities used to do to dissuade housing. So trying to get those types of design standards in here to avoid to making people content is unlikely or unlikely to be enforceable. And if you look, for example, at the design standards being considered in Sacramento, at the meeting, Mayor Steinberg told residents, hey, don't worry about this fourplex thing. We're going to have design standards. And these are the design standards they're considering: abolishing parking, abolishing setbacks, abolishing floor area ratios, which allows a speculative builder to utilize every square foot of the lot. If you look what's already allowed in San Jose and the state, everybody that owns a house today can build 2 ADUs today. And we're seeing that with the change of law, we're seeing a lot of people applying for those ADUs, even in a pandemic. And with that said, we think this is a policy we're good with and should continue. And that in itself will provide additional housing units, but not to change the character of the neighborhood. We'll hear often that, hey, we already have this type of housing in San Jose. Yes, it was built 100 years and 75 years ago when architecture was better and people would spend more on making a place look great. That won't happen. And as much as we have this type of housing, the question is, do you want one built next to you tomorrow for those that own a single family home? Now we hear about, well, we don't have to do the whole city. Let's just do next to transit. So here's some bus lines going through a central area, and people will think, okay, great. That means I'm going to put some on this street and this street and this street. No, actually, the idea is that it should be a half mile from transit. So what happens quickly is this, that everything in between gets affected. And in most of these blocks that you see here, they are a quarter or a third of a mile. So half a mile is a major impact to any neighborhood throughout city of San Jose. We could do the Berryessa based on what you have in your area as far as bus lines and BART and light rail, you would have a major impact. There are other ways to generate more housing. We've already said that the city's going to build, enough for 300,000 people in the coming years. But the city right now is considering allowing the conversion of commercial lots and allow them to be replaced by 100% low-income housing. And when you add up that acreage, that's 100 acres of land, time the average number of units we're doing for those types of developments, that's 10,000 units. And none of that has to build it within your neighborhood. We talk about urban villages a lot, so I just want to give you an idea what one is. So this is an example where you have a sea of parking and then retail in the back. It might be a grocery store, another drugstore, another type of retail. And then urban villages allow this to densify on a large piece of land. But again, it's not within the neighborhood. So what do we support? We support the current general plan, adds tens of thousands of housing units in the strategic areas. It also creates viable commercial and transit, because when you have density in the strategic locations, then you basically generate customers for business and customers for the transit system. As mentioned, we support the 2 ADUs because that's done by the property owner, not a profit motivated buyer. We support finishing the urban village work that was assigned to the planning department in 2011 and still hasn't been done. And we'd love to wait and see what mistakes are made in Oregon and Minneapolis before we try to roll this out here. And if people are insistent that this has to happen, then we believe this should be put on the ballot and let the voters decide. I can't think of another issue in San Jose that affects so many people that this should not be on the ballot. And finally, in my opinion, I feel almost everyone who lives in a single family house has worked hard to get there, and we should respect the promise that we've provided these residents. So what can you do? You can go to the Willow Glen neighborhood website. We have a petition that's citywide, and it has signatories from all across the city. And therefore we can keep you posted on what's going on next. There's another website set up by some folks that also are very concerned about this issue. There's their URL there. We certainly love you to share this with your friends and neighbors in San Jose. We find when we talk to people that most people just don't even know this is being proposed. And I think that's very unfortunate, because I think most people are very concerned about this item once they're informed. Please let your council member know that this is probably the most important issue to you. And I would suggest you grow thick skin in this discussion, because unfortunately, people will tag you as classist, racist, and or privileged if you don't agree with them on this topic. So thank you very much to the Berryessa Neighborhood Association for allowing both points of view to be presented this evening.
Thank you so much for all of that information. We know that our schools are losing a lot of kids because we're even losing the teachers because they can't afford to live. So this is going to be interesting for us to keep, the discussion going and finding out more, and maybe influencing our council people to do the right thing, whatever that may be, whatever that turns out to be. So I thank you so much. I know that you have things to do.
Sure. And one thing to note on schools, we've reached the lowest birth rate in this country ever. So it's not all because people can't afford to live here. It's because people have decided not to have kids. So I think that's a factor you need to put in. And a lot of people go into private school, especially during the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't have any questions. So I appreciate it. We're going to go back to our regular meeting now. So our speakers can leave if they need to, or can stay in if they want to. So we'll first have the police report from Captain Trayer, if you are ready.
I am ready. Thank you. I'm going to, I'm hoping I can share my, my screen with you. Let's see if it likes me. Share screen. There we go. And thank you for waiting. All right. And I can make that go away. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
There we go. Does that look pretty normal?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, hello again. This is my second time being back with you all. Things have been super busy, but very fruitful and eventful. I'm very proud of what the officers have been doing. I just want to give you a quick update on what's happening and listen to your questions or concerns that you're seeing in your neighborhood. I wanted to start off with the catalytic converter thefts. I don't know if you're hearing about it as much as I am, but I'm hearing a lot about it. So what people do is they climb under certain cars, especially like Priuses, those type of cars, and they can unbolt or cut off your catalytic converter in 20 seconds. They're worth about $3,000 each.
Oh, wow.
And they're, you can imagine if you do 4 or 5 of those a night, as a crook, you're having a pretty good night. So the other night I heard about one, and I was in recruiting before I was here. And I had one guy, I just felt, he's a midnight officer. He loves to work, and I assigned him to it. And 2 nights later, he did catch a big catalytic converter team, if you will. And we've been kind of doing work up on that. So that's kind of a good feel-good story, I guess, if you will. And plus, he is now my favorite officer of the week, I told him. But we've had a number of catalytic converter thefts reported all over the Bay Area. And it's not just one team of people. It's multiple people who are figuring out ways to make money off of this. If you have a car that is known to be kind of targeted for those, they do have covers you can buy. You can go to a service center and have a cover put over it for, I think the covers are pretty cheap, $50 or $100 to install them, but it's just a matter of taking time to do it. In your area, I ran all the stats for the last month. I did see a slight increase in robberies and really calls for service in the area of Capitol and Ohlone. I know that's a little north, but I know you probably go around there for shopping and that sort of thing. So I just want you to be careful when you're there and know that I'm putting additional resources out there. I have been out there. I was out there Friday and Saturday at one of the BCACs had sent me an email about some issues, and I went out to look for myself, and it's busy. It's very busy there. So just keep that in mind when you're, when you're walking around. If you have a satchel or a purse and you're carrying it through the parking lot, be aware that if you see something suspicious, don't put yourself in that situation if you can avoid it. I did get the gang report yesterday for the entire division. You might remember that I worked the gang unit the last year. It's super important to me. I do not see any anomalies in your area of gang incidents, which is wonderful to say. I'm not going to be able to say that at all the other community meetings. And finally, the sideshows. I put together a task force at the police department of some very hard chargers, and we had probably one of the most successful weekends ever this last weekend. There were 2 nights of sideshows. We arrested a promoter, and we towed a bunch of cars. And we're going to tow a lot more cars in the next week. We get little special warrants for the guys that do these sideshows in our neighborhoods. Very unsafe. Some other stats real quick. The aggravated assaults. I kind of promised you that was my priority one. That's somebody just running up and fighting you with a weapon or hitting you on the ground. The ground can count as a weapon. That's down 19% in the last month, which is great. Traffic accidents are at 9 in your area, and I kind of did a mile radius of the Berryessa Center. I thought that was fair. Most of them are small, minor traffic accidents, and 2 of them were hit and runs. Burglaries, I didn't see a big uptick in burglaries. We had 4, which might not sound like a lot, but if that's your house, it's a big deal. And then that's 4 commercial burglaries, I'm sorry. And then 2.5, because one of them is kind of weird, 2.5 residential burglaries in your area. So just to give you an idea of kind of what's happened in a month. Some of you were at the other meeting. There was an incident at Penitentiary Creek 2 Saturdays ago where a woman was walking through the creek at around 8 o'clock at night, more toward the Capitol side of it. And she was attacked by a stranger in the creek. So you can imagine the resources that we put out there, the canvases we did. They are still working on it in the sexual assault unit. That's who handles those type of crimes. I put officers out there every night, and I went out there also because I have an undercover car. I can kind of get around a little easier. But I put officers out there every night to be in that area itself. And I also attached what we call the street crimes unit. They are undercover cops that walk through the creeks and look for people that might match the description. So if you see a lot of police out there, I did get some calls, and that's the reason behind it. I'm just saturating the area with police So we can try to avoid that type of issue. It was a person that was not from not from that part of town. It was from somebody from a different part of town and walked through a really dark part of the creek. That does not mean at all that they deserve to be a victim at all. But it just, if you don't know the area, you don't know where the lights are or anything, it can be very dangerous. I saw a huge amount of suspicious persons calls, and I think I mentioned this last time, but that is a compliment to you. That means that you are calling when you see something you don't like. I think we had 66 of them, which is a huge number compared to last year. So thank you for calling it in if it's any of you. If not, people are calling them in. They usually end up being cleared, no big deal, but the cops do come out and they check on it. In the bottom, you can see those little numbers. So this year we had 446 calls over 1 month period. And last year we had about 100 more. So we've had less calls for service during this time last year. So that's good. That means they're not so violent. They're definitely more violent last year. You're going to see us be more visible out there. I promised some of you and that I would go out, and I did go out to the Berryessa and Capitol area to check out just that whole area. I'm very familiar with it, but just to kind of get reacclimated. I did see a lot of transient unhoused folks. Talked to some of them, but I did request additional patrol checks by my officers. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. I need your help in identifying problem encampments. That's not just every encampment in the city, but if there's something that's sticking out to you, like a lot of garbage and that type of thing, I don't always see it because it's so normal to me. But if it's something that is sticking out to you, please let me know. And finally, I'm trying to do this quick for you guys, so I value your time. The 4th of July plan, I'd mentioned at the last meeting, I have been working on that with the Sheriff's Department and CHP. We'll talk about that here. So I went up to Suncrest and I went up to Sierra Road. When I went up Suncrest, I did find a guy that needed help, so I ended up spending a few hours on that. And then Sierra Road also. It's been a while since I've been up there. Probably two of the best views, I think, in this city. If I could figure out a way to make it safe and fun, I don't know. But I did go up there just to see what it looked like so I could kind of form a better plan. I'll just show you a little bit of what I saw. I don't know how big it is on your screen, but on the left, it shows just the amount of garbage bottles. And this is nothing new to anybody who goes up there. It is, there are really 3 hot spots where they just throw their bottles all over the ground and all over the property. I mean, it's littered, and you can't see it in the bottom right hand, but it is littered with bottles all the way down the property where the animals are walking around, right? And then the little turnoffs, which have to be there, I believe, because in case there's an emergency, you have a place to stop your car and you're not in the middle of the road. But those are the hot spots where people have had some pretty big issues. And then I had to show you my panoramic because I was just so amazed at the beauty of our city. I know it's a little fuzzy, but it isn't in real life. And it was just one of those days where you just kind of are in awe at how beautiful something is. You forget how vast our city is. Almost finally, these little shields are pictures of every single event that every officer went out foot patrol at in 1 month. And that, I promise you, is impressive compared to other parts of the city I see. So I see a lot of Berryessa and Capitol, which is what the team told me when I told them I wanted to be out there more. They said, we're out there a lot, and they are. So that's a neat little diagram of kind of where I see a lot of them spending their time. Maybe they don't know that I check, but I do check because I want to know, is it fair and is it balanced on where they're going? But I do see that they're spending a lot of time among the trail, White Road, of course, and Capitol at Berryessa, which is my expectation. Finally, I got the green light from the chief, the acting chief right now is Dave Tyndall. And there's a big chief forum coming up this weekend, I believe. And they're gonna post it on Zoom and everything. So you can watch the chiefs get asked questions from the community if you're not part of that. But we will start doing coffee with the cops, neighborhood cleanups I've been doing already in other parts of the city that have had them. So if you have them, please invite me because I want to bring my team out so you can meet them. And I want them to clean up some garbage too, because they're pretty good at it. We're starting it back up with our Read to Succeed program. That's more of a Title I, schools that are dealing with more issues. So we do Zooms with the classes where the police read to the students. It's really fun and powerful. a bunch of other outreach events. And then I told you about the youth commission I was working on. I got the approval from the chief to go ahead with that. So a bunch of high school kids, mostly from the Foothill or East Side area, have allowed me to become part of their life. And we're moving forward with the youth commission. We're running big stuff by them, like our use of force policies, just policing overall, those type of things. And then finally, my little ask from you, if you know somebody in your neighborhood that's a superstar, that would be great with people, send them my way. I will give them 1,000% of my time and effort to try and get them on the department. We run about 40 people in each academy. We can go all the way up to 63, I think. So I have room and we're hiring. And every once in a while, there's just somebody in your neighborhood that just, would be great at treating people right. So let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. And that is it for me. So I'll stop sharing and take questions if there are any.
I think we have a couple. Let's see. They say here. The first one is, can you address the incident last night on Sierra Road? The rumor was that an armed person was stopping along Sierra Road to rob people. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I forgot to mention it. I think I put a little note in there to mention it. There was somebody that was robbed. Lieutenant Quinones probably can speak on it if he had a chance to see it, but yeah, it was in the sheriff's jurisdiction. It came down, it was reported to San Jose PD, and we worked with the sheriff's department to take the robbery. I know of one like confirmed robbery, and I did hear that there might have been another one, but I'm not sure that person was cooperative. So the Sierra Road did have that issue last night.
The other question is, how many citations have been made on Upper Sierra Road at the double homicide city area along with Sierra Vista Open Space Park? We are continuing to have late night time activity along with a recent armed robbery. Well, she's talking about the same armed robbery.
Yeah.
So.
Great point. I went up there when I went up there last weekend and saw everything. I just have a better idea of the jurisdiction and how it works. I don't know how many citations. I didn't run that number for you on the Upper Sierra Road. I did see a lot of parking or traffic enforcement on Lower Sierra Road. A lot meaning more than 10 in a month, which is a lot for an area like an area where cops are working. But rumor has it that those sheriff's department have been writing a lot of tickets out there too.
Yeah. Oops. That was a great report. Kenson Chu just chimed in and said that was a great report, Captain Trayer. So that was nice to hear from him. So are there any other? Oh, wait, I think
one more.
Another question here. Is there another question? Do you get stats on gang problems up in the Sierra Road foothills? We see tags up there, so she's curious.
Yeah, great question. I actually, when I was up there, I wiped off a couple of the tags on, I carry like a little, I know I'm probably a total nerd. I carry like a thing and I just spray it and it just takes it right off. I definitely saw generic tags up there. If I saw real stuff like gangs actually naming themselves, then we report it and have a team come out and clean it up. I don't see any stats on gang events. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It just means they haven't been reported as like a gang event up there. But I worked the gang unit, so I know what goes on up there. I was up there for the double homicide. I was there. I ran that event back then. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And somebody's asking patrol checks specific area. Oh yeah, you can contact me for patrol checks in a specific area. And I'll do two things. Number one, I'll run the stats. So you hear, if you tell me a certain area, I'm going to tell you what I see. And then I'm going to tell you what we can do. So I'm not going to just to give you an idea of realistically what's happening out there right now.
Hey, that's great. Thank you very much. Eric, I'm lost. I did something wrong because I can't get back in. Help. Our next presenter will be Sheriff Report. So Lieutenant Quinones, if you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this report will be for the month of January to the present day. During that month, our patrol units during the evening hours, which was requested by the committee, we did a total of 11 actual patrol checks and we had approximately 6 or 7 calls for service, ranging from alarms to a welfare check. And anytime we do go up for anything like that, we always continue with the patrol check of the area all the way to Felter and back. So realistically, we had about almost 18 or so patrol checks for the month. We had a drunken public arrest, obviously the barking dog complaints as well, some document services, but the one that does come to mind was the armed robbery that occurred last night, approximately 10 p.m. We received a 911 call via cell phone from 3 young victims. I say young because I'm old. They're about 21, 22 years of age. They were parked up at the open space on the roadway, obviously because the gates are closed. They were parked. The young lady was in the driver's seat, and a gentleman walked up and presented a firearm through the window. Give me all your bags, give me everything. And obviously these young ladies were very terrified and gave these items out to the suspects, which they drove off. Thank goodness they did not take their cell phones. And then the 911 call started coming. As you guys know, up by open space, cell phone is reception is a little choppy. They actually started driving down. When we got the call about 10:10, it was reported that the strong arm was at Sierra at Skyview. And wouldn't you know it, my deputies were actually responding to Sierra Road to do a patrol check because it was after 10 p.m. So they were actually going to the area. So we were on scene within about a minute and a half from when the call came out to us, which was extraordinary for the time frame being at Sierra Road. The description came out of the vehicle, and the first deputy that was going up saw a vehicle matching that description coming down. My thanks to San Jose PD, their air support unit, and their, I believe it is District William officers came out to assist. The helicopter was able to identify the vehicle. Patrol deputies that were responding went to take the vehicle down as the other deputy continued up looking for the victims. Unbeknownst to us, the victims had already made their way past Skyview and made a second 911 call, which at that point went to the city of San Jose, and they reported. So there was a bit of a mix-up that we may have had 2 robberies at the time. In fact, it was only 1 robbery, but it was reported twice. I actually met with the victims. I was on scene for the entire incident. My hats off to the deputies and the officers that were involved in this. At the end of the day, we were dealing with an armed suspect. He had an armed handgun, which he had it converted into this shoulder strap. And unfortunately, this is my second time Zooming with you guys, so I haven't been able to upload pictures, but I have this picture here that I can show you guys. This is what he had. This is what he pointed at the young kids in the car. It's a handgun. You can see the magazine right here, the barrel, and it has this shoulder strap that kind of makes it appear like a short end rifle. The scary part here was when we actually took the suspect out of the vehicle. He was wearing a tactical vest with rifle plates in it. This could have went bad at any second. He was armed. This is his vest. As you can see, the rifle plates, these are exactly what my deputies carry. And you can see the gun. Like I said, this could have been really bad, but I think we did what we do, and we did it right, and collaborated with San Jose, and we had enough officers on scene to shut it down, and with the assistance of the helicopter. The suspect was positively identified by these 3 terrified victims, and he went to jail. The vehicle was also occupied by a young female who became an excellent witness. So her status changed from suspect 2 to witness 1 really quick. She provided a great statement to us. She had just met the guy. He's about 29 years of age. He is a parolee. Well, he's a felon. He was charged with armed robbery, felon in possession of a firearm, and a prohibited person in possession of body armor. He is in jail. The victims, however, I had a chance to talk to them. They're from Hayward. And I asked them, what brought you down here? What brought you to Sierra Road? And they said, Instagram. It's on Instagram. It's a great place to come up, take pictures. It's a beautiful scene. So that's how the word's getting around to these kids via social media. So I asked them, I go, how do you feel about coming up to Sierra Road? They go, they'll never, ever come up to Sierra Road again. Unfortunately, they had a scare of their life. I was able to meet their parents. Their parents actually drove from Hayward. They called their parents and they were down here within about 30 minutes, pretty quick. I was able to talk to both parents of the females. But at the end of the day, excellent work by everyone involved to be able to shut this thing down, and it ended peacefully when nobody was hurt. So my thanks to everyone that was associated to this incident, my sergeants that were there, and of course, San Jose and their assistants as well. Great work by everybody. Again, this could have been this. Some people say, is it just luck or what? When you come across something like this, especially up there on Sierra Road, I think our diligence with patrol checking, deputies driving up there at that hour, were able to put us at the right place at the right time to put this to an end. So we're trying to do the best we can up there. I do know that that open space, there's some mixed jurisdiction up there, if I'm right, Captain. Some of that belongs to San Jose. So there's a bunch of different areas that part of the roadways ours, part of the roadway San Jose. At the end of the day, if we get out there, we're going to handle business. We're going to take care of it. I don't care whose side of the road it's on. And that's what we did last night. We handled it. We took care of it, and reports are being written right now. So nobody got hurt at the end of the day, and I'm happy about that. And we're continuing to do what we can to keep Sierra Road safe. We are in talks with San Jose and again CHP regarding 4th of July. I'm proud to say that this is my third 4th of July coming up, and we were able to shut the road down for the last 2 years on Sierra Road with the assistance of the California Highway Patrol. So hopefully it'll be the same way this time around. I'm sorry I don't have a PowerPoint. I don't know how to Zoom very well, but I'm learning. But I'll take any questions before I go back to work. If anybody has,
We got a couple here, so
Sure.
let me see real quick. I saw on TV news that 45 to 50% of San Jose Sheriff's Office didn't want to take the COVID vaccine. I know it's a personal choice. Is there something they know about the vaccine that we don't?
I think they know the same thing about the vaccine as everyone else. I think it's a personal decision for any person, not just a deputy or an officer or a civilian. It's your choice to want to take the medication. I took it. I'm not part of the 48%. I can tell you this. I did not want to take it, but I did take it. I have a family, and I have my parents still with me, thank God. And I'm looking out for them. I just want this pandemic to be over, and I want us to get back to some normalcy. So I can't speak for anyone who doesn't want to take it. That is a personal decision, nor would I force anyone to take it. So I can't speak for people if they make their own decision to not want to take a vaccination. I can't make them forcefully make them take it.
The other two comments were just congratulating you on the good job of reporting to us and of capturing the bad guys. So
Well, it was a combined effort with a lot of people. So we're very happy that everybody did the right thing. And again, I'm more happy the fact that nobody was hurt. That's the main point for me. That nobody was
thank
hurt.
goodness. Yeah. Okay. Henson Chu again chimed in and congratulated you for your good work, and Rokana's representative also saying the same thing. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
All
If I don't have
right.
any more questions, I'm going to go back to work, and I will see you guys
Yeah.
next month.
All right.
You guys take care of
Great.
yourselves, and
I appreciate
we'll
that.
see you in March. And a happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we'll go back to our next format is reports from our officials. And the first one will be Assembly member, our new Assembly member, really, Alex Lee. But Anurag is here, as usual, to report.
Hello, everybody. This is Anurag with the Assembly Member Lee's office. I see my former boss, Member Kenson Chu. So I just want to say hi. He can see me. I can see
Yeah.
him. He can see me. A few updates from our office. Been very busy. First one is we hosted a town hall on vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine update on the 4th of this month. And if anybody missed it, I'm putting a link in the chat. You can rewatch it. It's on our website as well as on his Facebook. 7-member Lee has introduced 3 bills so far, and the deadline to introduce all bills is on the February 19th of this month. I'm going to be adding the links to 3 bills that he has introduced in the chat as well. 3 are, one is banning corporate funds from elections. Second one is about social housing, basically a government managed housing that provides assistance to residents where they can live and it's affordable. And the third one is more access to public meetings like this, like city meetings, which are happening on Zoom. Samamber Lee and Samamber Garcia has introduced together so that in future, when we get back to normal, people can still participate from home. So that gives great access to people with disabilities or just they want to participate. So those are 3 bills I've introduced and more coming, and I'll have more detail next month. This month we'll be hosting, we have 2 events planned. I will have details in coming days and we'll send it to Linda and Ty to share. But on dates finalized today, on February 20th, Saturday, we're going to be hosting a Black History Month event with NAACP. It's going to be a movie premiere. On February 24th, we're hosting a virtual office hours, so where you can meet him, Samamber Lee one-on-one, and discuss any issue that you care about. And then on March 8th, next month, we're going to be hosting a town hall on tenants and landlords resources. So the state passed a bill last month, which provides $2.6 billion in financial relief to tenants and landlords who haven't been able to pay rent or receive rent. So this is going to be a first come first serve program, and we'll be having detailed information where you can apply and how you can apply and who qualify next month on March 8th, and that will be a virtual town hall as well. It will be on our website. It's not up there right now, but if you visit our website events, we'll have the details shortly, and also send an email to BCAC. The issues we are hearing from you, our office is working very hard to resolve EDD cases for constituents. That's the top priority for us. We've been dealing with the previous member Chu, he knows, and this office, this is keeping us busy. So we try to get that sorted out for our neighbors and friends who live in the Assembly District 25. If you know anybody who's facing hardship because of EDD, please send us our way and we will be happy to assist them. And also the issue of Caltrans cleanup or debris on our highways. We have contacted Caltrans, and thank you to board member Srinivasan for bringing that to my attention. They said they will be doing a cleanup this week, and if a member Lee's meeting with the director in coming weeks, try to address that and probably start a volunteer program so that our residents can participate regularly. That's our goal. So I'll keep you updated on that, but those are the 2 big issues that we're hearing about in the community from our constituents. And if you have any questions, I'll be on. I'm happy to answer and at your service. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll just keep us updated, and then we can send out that information to our members and everyone. Okay, thank you. And City Council member David Cohen, David's here, I think, and then Alexander is here also. So who wants to speak?
I wasn't planning to be here because I had another meeting, so I'm going to let Alexander do my report for me.
Okay,
so
cool.
he's prepared.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. Good to see everyone. I just want to give a quick update on what our office has been up to in our first month. So I want to first and foremost thank everybody who tuned in, I should say, for our very first virtual District 4 Town Hall over the weekend. We had nearly 100 people join us to talk about how we can work together to make the district a better, stronger community. So that was really great to see. For those of you who couldn't make it on Saturday, we'll be holding our second town hall on Thursday, the 18th at 6 p.m. So keep an eye out in our newsletter, or feel free to reach out to our office for more information. We're also starting to get our social media going, so we'll be making announcements there as well. Some of you who were at the January meeting may remember that Johnson Tran was our D4 communications director. Johnson unfortunately had to step down for personal reasons, which sort of delayed our social media rollout. But our new communications director, Lam Nguyen, whom I'm sure you'll all have an opportunity to meet at some point in the future, is hard at work getting that started. So keep an eye out for our social media at D4 San Jose is the handle for most of the Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. We also want to let folks know about the mayor's upcoming budget town hall on the 11th at 6 p.m. This is going to be a really good opportunity for folks to learn more about the city's budget process, to ask any questions they may have about the budget, and to provide feedback. So I'll go ahead and post a link for a flyer in the chat, which has more info as well as the Zoom link and the call-in number.
Great.
So that's in the chat. And just to wrap up, a couple of updates on what our office is doing out in the Berryessa community. We've been getting a lot of people who have expressed concerns about the dead trees along the pathways in Penitencia Park. Our office has been working with PRNS to get those removed, so that should be happening soon. And I also want to give you all an update on the wayfinding banners that BCAC posted on the streetlights. As I'm sure you all know, those banners were taken down by the city to put up Census 2020 banners, and there was a delay in getting the original banners back up. So our office reached out to the Department of Economic Development, and the BCAC banners will be back up either next week or the week after. So that's about it for me. Appreciate you giving us the opportunity to share what we've been working on. And if you have any questions or concerns, definitely feel free to reach out to our office and we'll be happy to help.
Thank you. I wanted to congratulate David, first of all, but I did go to the town hall meeting, and the thing I really liked about it was that your whole staff was up there, and so you could see. So when you call or talk to somebody, you recognize them now. You can be able to see them. So not very many people have ever done that, and so it was really nice. That was a good idea. So thank you so much. All right, Ro Khanna's office, Kip Nguyen is here someplace, I think. Are you there? Maybe he had to leave. Let's see. He was here. Congressman Ro Khanna's office. Hello. Let's see. Well, I don't see. Maybe he had to leave. Uh-oh. What happened? Why is this happening? I don't know. What in the world is happening here? I don't know. Well, we'll move along. Santa Clara, Santa Clara Valley Water District, Richard Santos.
Good evening, Madam President and everybody. Thank you. Water conservation continues being a way of life. And also, they talk about water rates. The water district is continuing with the same rates. There is retailers already petitioning to raise the rates, but it's not us. So remember that. I did get my inoculation, not by choice, by age. So we qualified. So we got that done. You're going to be seeing some infrastructure work around the Berryessa area because we're removing aging pipes, and we'll continue to be busy around till March of 2021. I did want to say also, please, that I thank Captain Trayer and Lieutenant Quinones for addressing Sierra Road. It's become a catastrophe up here. And I got a meeting with the community along with President Chavez of the Santa Clara County. And tomorrow they're going to address that at 9:30. So there's a lot more to this. We're getting 10,000 cars up in a weekend. It's just getting crazy with the trash and reckless driving. I can go on and on. We don't take any of your valuable time. But please join me tomorrow at 9:30 on the Board of Supervisors meeting on a Zoom meeting. It's item 11. We'd love to have you speak. I've already sent many messages in, and our community up here has responded. So thank you for the time, and y'all be safe.
Thank you. Berryessa Union School District Superintendent, Dr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Linda. Good evening, everyone, and it's good to see everybody today. Just to share, we have open enrollment going on right now. So it just launched today. It's all online for all grades, TK through 8th grade. We are also doing our informational meetings for our specialized programs like our parent participation program over at Noble and Earlier today, just before this meeting, we were having our Mandarin dual immersion program meeting. So we had over 80 parents there, which was great. A lot of interest in that program, which is moving up to 4th grade next year. So it's amazing that this is already going to be our 4th school year of operating that program. So when we started it at kindergarten. So really excited about that. Again, you know, we have amazing schools and we have staff that work so hard for our students. So I always like to share their successes with all of you. And we recently received a notice that several of our school sites earned the ERP Honor Roll recognition. And that is recognition given to Title I school sites for showing high achievement at their schools and lessening the achievement gap with their students. And so we had 6 schools recognized, which is half of our schools: Laneview, Northwood, Summerdale, Vincy Park, Merill Middle School, and Piedmont Middle School for the 2019-2020 school year. So really proud of, you know, their hard work with their students. Also, as you know, reopening schools is a hot topic. It's all over the news last week. And so last time when we met, I shared that there were new metrics that were established by the state for reopening, as well as new safety standards that we need to meet in order to reopen safely for our staff and students. One of the key criteria to that is increased testing for COVID-19 within your district's setting. And so that's something that staff and I have been working on, and I'm really pleased that tomorrow at our board meeting, we'll be able to take an MOU agreement to our board for a partnership with Bay Area Community Health. So Bay Area Community Health, so long as everything goes well, we've been working through all the logistics. They'll be offering COVID-19 testing at Sierramont Middle School every 1st and 3rd Wednesday from 1:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon, starting March 3rd. And those dates will be for all of our staff, as well as every student and their immediate family. In addition to that, we are working with Bay Area to extend that COVID-19 testing to our Berryessa community at large. And we're looking at doing that on Saturdays. So hopefully in my next update in March, I'll be able to share with all of you that local opportunity for each of you to be able to just come on over to Sierramont and have COVID-19 testing done. So we're really pleased with that partnership, because as a part of the health department's recommendation when we do reopen for in-person students, if you're in the purple tier, which we currently still continue to be, they're asking that our staff and students have COVID-19 testing accessibility on a weekly basis. So this is our step 1, and we're grateful for Bay Area Community Health to be able to do that as a community outreach service to us, and also some savings, because that's also a district expense that needs to be taken on to be able to provide that safety measure. So really looking forward to that, and pleased that, you know, our Berryessa community at large can also benefit. Also, last time that I mentioned, we had a board vacancy, and we were going to be talking about the process at our last board meeting. So our board of trustees, and we do have 2 here today, President Thelma Boak, as well as Trustee Jay Srinivasan. The board did agree to move forward with an appointment process. We opened up the applications. We had several applicants. And this week on Wednesday at 6 p.m., we'll be conducting the interviews of the top 5 applicants for that vacancy seat. So looking forward to that, and the opportunity of sharing with you who our final 5th member will be of our governing school board. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting. We wondered if you had gotten a number of applicants, so that's good to hear. Yeah. All right. County Supervisor Otto Lee. Is Diego on? I don't know if he actually is here or if he's part of the audience and doesn't get to speak. I don't know. I'll have to check out on that, because they were going to come. So I don't know if Eric, you can see whether Diego's here or not, but I think that's what happened to Rokana's rep also. So see what happens.
I sent them a
And,
link. I don't see them in the attendees.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not there.
And then Robin, with the VTA Citizens Advisory, he told me he wasn't going to give a report, but he did put one in the chat area. So I did save it, and we'll send that along so everybody else can see what's going on with him. Okay. All right. So our last update then is the update of our last project. Kai Grease is going to fill us in. That was the mural, refurbishing or redoing our mural on the Berryessa Community Center wall outside. Okay, are you ready? Oh, you're muted. You're still muted.
Okay, I should not be.
There you go.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because I know we're running short of time, but this slide has changed in that we, as I understand it, have the anti-graffiti coating has been applied by Joe Sachs. He and the community center worked together to make sure that happened in a responsible way. To see the current's concern about making sure the title of whatever plaque we generated was reflective of the actual title, and it is Valley of the Hearts Delight Possessive. And there was board consensus, and it still has board consensus, that we're going to install a plaque commemorating the change in the restoration of the plaque or the mural. And you can see kind of the difference that it made to have it restored. And I would encourage anyone to go take a look at it. It's really quite lovely. As part of the Beautify San Jose Grant Cycle 3, we want to put up a commemorative plaque that honors the history of Berryessa, the vistas, the mural. There is a person captured in one of the murals, one of the panels, and his name is Otis Jones. He was a former employee. Commemorate the artist, the project lead, which was the Office of Cultural Affairs, our sponsorship. First look estimates, we want the material to be bronze. That is in keeping with the existing plaque, a small plaque mounted low on the right-hand side of the doors. This will be bigger, 24 by 18. And what estimates we've gotten is about $1,260. And that's certainly within the project budget. The original proposal that I shared with you guys last month is this one. In doing some additional homework about the nature and history of the mural, I came up with this version, which I called an expanded version. And it includes phrasing in there about how it was inspired by the old California missions and their repetitive arches. And it talks also about the fact that there's some elements of the panel that look odd, but what they are is a homage to the Ohlone tribe and their use of mortars and pestle. And so wanted to draw the viewer's attention to that, as well as the fact that the doorway, the trompe-l'oeil doorway staircase leading up is meant to take the person into the future, an unseen, unknown future. And I thought all those elements were worthy of note, but there was artist pushback. He was concerned that the inclusion of the phrase regarding the California missions could be problematic as a matter of cultural history. And so I have this version that I'll be sharing with the board at our next board meeting. It removes the reference to the California missions and leaves the balance in. So it does talk about the Ohlone mortars. It talks about the doorway to the future. And that is my report.
Thank you, sir. That's good. We do have money in the grant. So like I said, we're keeping within the budget. We have for next month, it's our annual Citizen of the Year. presentation. So we want to make sure that we have everybody present. I know what I forgot to do, and I was going to be sure to do it this time, was to let Vishnu speak and talk. And I'm supposed to put you on here as part of the presenter. So I'm going to do that now. He's our student representative. So if you want to say a few words, Vishnu, we'd like to have.
Thanks, Linda. Okay, so I'll just speak about the events going on at Piedmont. There's nothing much compared to last month, but one thing I think is really notable is that our school district has they entered a contract with this website called tutor.com, and they're allowing students to have like free 24/7 tutoring with like a personal tutor. And I think that's like a great commitment given the costs and issues that would bring up, right? So I think that's pretty neat by the school. Otherwise, there's nothing much other than that we're entering like our final classes. It'll be the last time I get to choose my classes, given that I'll be a senior next year. So it is a bit sentimental in some weird way. Otherwise, I don't have much to say. Thank you.
Okay, well, good. We're glad you joined us tonight too. So got to make sure we let you do that every month. It's interesting to see what you have to say and get your point of view. So thank you very much. And like I said, our next meeting will be a Citizen of the Year. It's very special to us to be able to honor somebody that goes above and beyond, you know, what most of us do on a daily basis. And this person will be fun to hear about. And we might or might not have an ethnic presentation. We'll have to see how that's going. But that's what's on track for next week. For next month, so March. So happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Hope you get some chocolates
Linda
to enjoy.
and Ty, please send us the information so we can bring.
Oh yes, we will. Absolutely, Anurag, we will do that. We've almost got that ready to go.
The invitations have already been posted through the U.S. Postal Service. I was going to give it a week and then follow up with an electronic version of the same. So if you'd like, I'll send you your special. In fact, I'll just send them out tomorrow, and you'll see the invitation to the Citizen of the Year, so they'll be there.
All right. No further comments. I don't know what else I forgot, but anyway, that was a great meeting. Lots of information tonight. So we'll have a good board meeting next week, and it'll have to be Zoom again because that's a holiday. I mean, you guys are gone all week, actually. How nice. And so we have a lot to discuss at that meeting and things to do. I've had some requests for presentations that'll be kind of fun, actually, because it's like for Mike Flower wants to give a presentation about you know, some trails and things that are going on, and I said, well, that'll be good because that's a happy thing. We always like to have happy things. And then Dick was going to introduce his new, what is he, Dick?
He's
what's his
our CEO.
The CEO he was. Okay, I didn't know his title.
Santa Valley Water District, Rick Callender. And that'll be even April.
Yeah, he's going to be in was it April? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So that'll be good. So those are nice, interesting things that we'll be able to hear about coming up. All right, so I have nothing else. Have a good evening. I'm going to go have a piece of chocolate cake just because it makes me feel better. Good night, everyone. See you later. Thanks for all coming.